Hello, hello, it's Friday now, 15th of May. Got my coffee, just getting going here, folks. Every day I do kind of, sometimes sit on the fence about, well, will I make a video or not, But I've started this ball rolling, so I'm going to keep it going. I do read what you say, folks. I appreciate the feedback. I'm just going to be me, I am just going to be me. I know that, of course, I'm not looking for agreement. I'm just sharing what makes sense to me. I am. I'm not looking for you to agree with me. I'm looking for signs of sanity in the world. That's what I'm looking for. It's not about, are you right or are you wrong? No. It's just trying to make sense of things. That's really what it is. Matt, if you see this, I'm going to do a preliminary mention of what you sent me, but I'll probably come back to it because I haven't absorbed it yet. But when people send me stuff, I like to acknowledge it pretty quickly or I'll forget. And Matt Parker, has the label Jazz, well, apparently it's more than a record label, but he runs Jazz in Britain. And I received a parcel from them yesterday. A book on Allan Holdsworth, an updated version of this book by Ed Chang. I haven't started to read it yet. Allan Holdsworth is one of my favorite guitarists. It's hard to say who's the top. He's probably the top. And also this brand new release of old material. Allan Holdsworth with Ray Warleigh, Ron Mathewson, and Brian Spring. The Ron Mathewson tapes, Warleigh Manor. I just love Allan Holdsworth's sensibility and sensitivity in playing. I can give a preliminary impression, although I'm going to go deep because he's my man. Allan, these sound like recordings where they were made in like around 1979, and Allan is just getting to be heard by people. And it sounds like it's improvisation session with these other great musicians. All these guys are great. For a minute I was thinking I would prepare for this and then I didn't. And I wanted to show if I can just pull. Yeah. I know my record collection, and I don't know my record collection. So anyway, here's an album that I've had for years with Ron Mathewson and Allan Holdsworth on, together with John Stevens. Great drummer, touching on. Kind of a low-key effort. Mainly what I mean by it is that this is back, to me it sounds like Allan is still finding his voice on the guitar. It's already wonderful, but it's like it's still in development. And my initial impression from listening to the 2 long tracks, I haven't listened to the third outtakes yet, is that's what's going on here, is that Allan is finding his footing with these other musicians who are all really great players. All these guys have background. Ray Warleigh, look him up, he's played on it with everyone. I have him on Brighter Later by Nick Drake and some other records, Ian Matthews. So my initial impression is, of course, this is real music. This is a real interaction between artists, and it's substantial. It's not just noodling around. It's this interaction, and it's improvisation. To me, what's going on is it's a process of discovery. For the most part, trying to allow what can happen to happen. If music is present, then it will rise up through our actions, the making of the music. And that's what I hear going on here. I'll be coming back to this, but I want to go ahead and just, because it's my nature, when I get something, I want to acknowledge it. I received it. Thank you very much, Matt. overall, I'm just super impressed by your endeavor, Jazz in Britain. I'm also glad to see that in spite of the COVID-19 that, you're doing business. Excuse me. I'm just going to just let this be what it is this morning because we're at a very interesting time, and I just want to just try to share these thoughts. I started to see what's happening now in dreams and visions. I will use the word. I'm not a prophet. We all are. We all have this ability to see things and to perceive things beyond what's right in front of us. Some of us pay attention to it and are attuned to it. Others are not. I started having these visions of social breakdown around the age of 17, really having a lot to do with my understanding and seeing just seeing the layout of the near future by events and by politics and by the social discourse. These thoughts and visions and dreams have never stopped since then, coming and going. But I basically hoped that it wouldn't happen until after my death. But I didn't get lucky. Now, things may still improve. Things will improve, but I'll tell you what. Everyone is hard pressed to see things turn around quickly and go back to normal, which wasn't very normal in the first place. That's not going to happen, folks. And our insistence on trying to make it happen is what's making the near futures that I see look even darker, because we're dealing with an issue that we can't see, the virus, and so therefore it doesn't exist for a lot of people. Here in my state of Nebraska, it's really bad like that. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was telling you, we have 30 cases. What is it today? 800 something? I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm just sharing and reporting. Number one, for the sake of my sanity, I need to get these things off of my mind and share them. I'm not looking for an amen corner. Like I said, I'm looking for signs of sanity in this world. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. That's not what this is about. It's just about trying to make sense out of things, So, keep talking to me, but I know what I'm about, okay? And this irritation that is here is real, and it's there. It's just that, I see what I see. I'm gonna tell you what I see. So that's why I say, Matt, if you're watching this, I'll come back to the Allan Holdsworth. I haven't listened to it deeply yet, but I want to acknowledge that you sent it to me, and I appreciate it. Is there anything else I want to show right quick before I go? Yes, I want to also acknowledge that the other record I got from Tala McDonis, I have listened to it some more. I really appreciate this stuff. Radical Empathy Trio. Talam, you're the real deal. Talam is the real deal. He's a real musician with his gate open so that things come through the music and the interaction of these people. This is really wonderful, actually. It's the sort of thing where you just let it go. Parts of it's engaging, and then I'll find myself drifting. I'm doing something, and then the next thing you know, what they're doing will call my attention back to it. It's not just making noise. It's a process. It's a communicative process, but it feels like a living process. Like, the best music to me and the best improvisation, or the most enjoyable, well, no, I won't even say enjoyable, but the most striking improvisation to me is when the music itself comes alive. I do think that the wisest artists recognize that they're not responsible for the art, that it comes through them, it comes through us. We're not responsible for this art and music, it comes through us. And that's when it's the best to me, is when the music is allowed to do what it needs to do. It's fun to listen to the ego, people displaying skills, that's cool. But when music is allowed to just exist on its own and it comes through the players, man, that's the best. That's happening here on this. I can tell that already. That's happening on this Holdsworth thing. But again, it sounds like they're getting familiar with one another. But I got to come back to it. But I want to thank you, Matt, for sending that to me. I want to thank you very much. And I just hope that everyone holds on, because I'm experiencing in my neighborhood, in my city, real evidence of people breaking down mentally. Last night I was awakened by people basically drag racing just a few blocks from me. This went on for almost 2 hours, really loud and scary, and to the point that it's like, man, I can just hear an impact, revving up loud and just going and going. Other little things I see, I won't bother to describe, Be aware, folks, so you don't break down, and do the best you can, take care of yourself best you can. I'm not going to stop bashing the politicians, because they are wrong. They're telling us that money and economics are more important than life. That's the message. That's the message. The debt is more important. People are losing their shit and killing themselves and killing each other because of debt. And a lot of that debt could be erased, and we would lose nothing. Those people would lose nothing that they deserve. Fucking shit. That's where I'm at about this. Besides dealing with a virus, we're dealing with man's ignorant greed and selfishness. And I can say that while sitting in front of this wall of records, because this isn't what it's about. These records can be burned up in a fire in a second, and I have nothing, and I know that. So it's not about me owning records. That's not what I'm talking about. That's why I get mad dealing with pimple-minded people who are on that simple level of thinking. We're talking on a whole nother level. Some of y'all understand, some of you that aren't so stupid. Yeah, I'm kind of letting off, because we're dealing with the stupidity of Trump and his followers. That's just bugging the shit out of me. I'm thinking, I ain't going to say it here. I just about said it here. I think I'll do it in person, but it's affecting relationships. I don't like it, because I'm not the one creating the division. It's the ignorance of these people who actually follow Trump that are in my life. It's really unfortunate that ignorance and selfishness and blind greed is so powerful. That's where I'm at today. Didn't talk much about music, but if you've been watching me for a while, this is what it's about. I'm going to talk to you about what I want to talk about. This is not a service, okay?